It's no secret that the NFL is home to some of the craziest records known to man. From Jerry Rice's insane career receiving yards to Emmitt Smith's 18,300 rushing yards. There are a lot of records that show just how amazing some of the best players in the game were. But going beyond that, we have one record that stands heads and shoulders above the rest. They say records are meant to be broken, but nobody is touching Brett Favre's Ironman streak. While you need to be an exceptional player to claim an all-time NFL record, you need to be superhuman to accomplish what this friggin' guy did on December 5th, 2010. Now on December 5th, 2010, the NFL witnessed the end of an era. For die-hard football fans, it felt like the final page of a football fairy tale that looked unending. Brett Favre, the ageless gunslinger, was forced to sit out for the first time in 19 years, ending his legendary Ironman streak of 321 consecutive games. At 41 years old, Favre had become a symbol of toughness, playing through broken bones, concussions, and countless hits that would have sidelined most players. To put this into perspective, Favre's streak spanned 3 decades, where he played for the Packers, Jets, and Minnesota Vikings. It wasn't just about showing up every single time for those teams. It was also about outlasting 230 friggin' 8 other quarterbacks who started games during that period. He started every game for 19 straight seasons, averaging 16.6 starts per year in an era when quarterbacks were not as protected as they are today. As if the streak itself wasn't impressive enough, Favre was also a monster when it came to the numbers. During the streak, he threw for 71,838 yards and 508 touchdowns, and won 3 MVP awards from 1995 to 1997. He led the Packers to a Super Bowl victory in 1996 and became the NFL's all-time leader in passing yards and touchdowns by the time he retired. No matter how much fans loved to see Brett on the field, they knew it was only a matter of time until we had to say, adios, muchacho. On that cold December day, Brett Favre finally said, enough. Just a week earlier, he had been driven into the frozen turf of TCF Bank Stadium during a game against the Buffalo Bills, where he suffered a sprained shoulder that left him visibly battered. For the first time since 1992, Favre wasn't under center. Instead, rookie Joe Webb took the field for the Minnesota Vikings, marking the end of his unprecedented run. Even though everyone celebrated Favre's heroic run, only a handful of people truly understand how crazy the record is. To really help you appreciate Favre's record, you have to understand what it means to be a quarterback. Imagine waking up every day, knowing that your job is to get pummeled. You drop back to pass, scan the field, and within seconds, bodies are flying at you from every direction. It is a lot like standing in the middle of a rock fight, except the rocks are 300-pound linemen sprinting at you with bad intentions. This is an oversimplification of the quarterback role, but it helps give the average Joe an idea about what it takes to do the job. It's like trying to solve a puzzle while people throw bricks at your head. Even when you do everything right, you might still get crushed. And when we talk about getting crushed, we mean quarterbacks getting destroyed by heaps of mean linebackers. Even with rules designed to protect them, quarterbacks are sitting ducks in a game that's faster and more physical than ever. The moment they release the ball, they're often met with bone-jarring hits, and scrambling outside the pocket only increases the risk of devastating collisions. One gruesome example of quarterbacks getting destroyed in games is Alex Smith's crazy injury in 2018 during the game against the Houston Texans. Smith was sacked and his leg twisted awkwardly beneath him, resulting in a compound fracture of his tibia and fibula. Most fans didn't really get to see how bad the injury was, but the pain Smith felt that day was in a league of its own. The injury was so severe that it required 17 surgeries and led to a life-threatening infection, putting his career and even his leg in jeopardy. Another unforgettable quarterback injury NFL fans can't get out of their heads occurred when Drew Bledsoe suffered a life-threatening injury that changed the course of NFL history. During a game against the New York Jets, Bledsoe scrambled toward the sideline and was leveled by Jets linebacker Mo Lewis in a brutal hit. The collision sheared a blood vessel in Bledsoe's chest, causing internal bleeding and leaving him in critical condition. He was rushed to the hospital, where doctors later revealed he could have died if not for immediate medical attention. Those are the kinds of injuries that Brett and every other quarterback in the league risks any time they step into the field. Yet, they put on the gear and play the game every time they are called upon. Not because they know they won't get hurt, but because all they care about is getting the work done. It goes without saying that as a quarterback, you need a level of insanity to be able to perform when you know what could happen if you make a mistake. But while other players got wrecked by rough linebackers, Brett Favre had a secret that gave him greater odds of leaving the field on two legs. If you ask most fans to take a guess on how Brett Favre managed to do the impossible by going 321 consecutive games without getting injured, most might agree that he was lucky, but that would be so far from the truth. The real answer lies in a combination of toughness, preparation, and an almost superhuman tolerance for pain. Favre's durability wasn't just luck, it was a product of his relentless work ethic. He credited his ability to stay on the field to his off-season training regimen, which included rigorous workouts to build strength and endurance. He also had an uncanny ability to avoid catastrophic hits, often shrugging off defenders or delivering a quick pass just before contact. He was the epitome of a football warrior, playing through injuries that would have sidelined most players. Broken bones, sprains, concussions, you name it. One game that really highlighted Favre's stubbornness to get dragged down was the Monday Night Football game against the Raiders that happened on December 22, 2003. Brett Favre walked into Oakland Coliseum with a heavy heart, knowing that less than 24 hours earlier, his father, Irvin Favre, had passed away suddenly from a heart attack. Irvin was more than Brett's dad. He was his coach, mentor, and biggest supporter. And no one would have blamed him for not showing up, but boy, were they wrong. The stadium buzzed with anticipation, but no one could have predicted what would unfold. From the very first snap, Favre played like a man possessed. He launched deep passes with pinpoint accuracy, threading the ball through impossible windows. On the Packers' opening drive, he unleashed a 22-yard touchdown to Wesley Walls, setting the tone for the night. By halftime, Favre had thrown 4 touchdowns and racked up 311 passing yards, leaving fans and the Raiders' defense in stunned silence. His teammates seemed to play on a different level, making acrobatic catches, as if they refused to let Brett down. After one diving grab, receiver Donald Driver looked toward Favre with tears in his eyes, understanding the weight of the moment. If his mental anguish wasn't enough, the 1995 NFC Divisional Playoff game against the 49ers showed just how high his pain tolerance was. The week before, Favre had taken a brutal beating in the wild card round against the Atlanta Falcons, injuring his ankle so badly he limped off the field. But when game day came, there was never a doubt he'd play. Favre took the field at Candlestick Park, hobbling but determined, ready to take on the defending champs. From the opening snap, Favre was electric. The pain in his ankle seemed to disappear as he launched deep, daring passes through the rain-soaked air. On the Packers' first drive, he connected with Keith Jackson for a 3-yard touchdown, silencing the San Francisco crowd. He followed it up with another scoring strike to Robert Brooks, and suddenly, the Packers were up 21-0, all while Favre gritted through every step on an injured leg. The 49ers, led by Steve Young, fought back, but Favre's relentless energy wouldn't let up. He finished with 222 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, orchestrating a stunning 27-17 upset victory. The Packers' defense sealed the win with a clutch interception, but it was Favre's warrior mentality that defined the game. After the final whistle, Favre limped off the field, mud-streaked and exhausted, his battered body carrying Green Bay to their first NFC Championship appearance in 28 years. It was the game that solidified his reputation as a fearless leader and a quarterback who could take the hits, shake off the pain, and drag his team to victory, no matter what it cost him. Seeing how football has evolved over the years to protect players against dangerous injuries, it's easy to say we might see any player go on crazy streaks like Brett Favre, but that's almost impossible. The closest any quarterback has gotten to Favre's Ironman streak was 240 consecutive starts by Philip Rivers. Rivers was a monster who didn't know how to stay down despite getting knocked around like a piñata. The most legendary moment of his streak came in the 2007 AFC Championship game. Rivers tore his ACL the week before, but refused to sit out. He had knee surgery, then suited up against the New England Patriots 6 days later, playing the entire game on one leg. The Chargers lost, but Rivers' toughness became the stuff of legend. Throughout his career, Rivers endured hits, broken bones, and the grind of playing for teams that often struggled to protect him. Yet, he never missed a start. He played through injuries that would bench most quarterbacks, staying on the field, not because he had to, but because he refused not to. Philip Rivers was clearly on the same wavelength as Brett Favre, but it still wasn't enough to get him close to Brett's record. Today's NFL is faster, more brutal, and more protective of players than ever before. Quarterbacks face relentless hits from massive, freakishly athletic defenders, but that doesn't mean they aren't protected. If a quarterback takes a hard hit and stumbles, they're immediately pulled for evaluation. No arguments, no heroics. In Favre's era, he'd wave off trainers and jog back out like nothing happened. Today, even the suspicion of a concussion triggers a mandatory process that can sideline a player for weeks. And it's not just head injuries. Teams now prioritize long-term health over short-term grit. All you need to get players off the field is a mild sprain or fractured finger. The 17-game season makes it even tougher. That extra game means more hits, more fatigue, and more chances to get hurt. Teams are more willing to rest players, especially if they've already locked up a playoff spot. But Favre, he treated every game like it was his last, limping onto the field no matter how broken he was. Favre's streak wasn't just about physical durability. It was about his refusal to quit and his unbreakable will to compete. In an era where longevity matters more than streaks, it's hard to imagine another quarterback matching Favre's record, which puts him in a league of his own. Do you guys think it's possible we will see players in the future who could come close to Brett Favre's streak? Let us know in the comment section below, and see you on the next one. Peace out.